And hello everyone, welcome to my competitive Labor Day event. This will probably be the last competitive event this year that I'll be hosting at this sort of time frame, sort of 12 my time, 11 my time, that type of thing, because I'll be heading into university very soon. And so I might be able to do like some late North American events in the week, but we'll see, depending on what my schedule looks like. Um, But Sunday, Friday, Saturday, like weekends in general, should still be free. So I should still be available for events and stuff like that. Again, the commentator talks, and we'll get straight into the event so we don't waste any time. If he'll start. There we go. Okay, plebeian against Eve. Yeah, thanks plebeian. It's my last course this September. Then I've got the practicum, which is more intense because it's literally teaching for a bunch of months until Christmas. So that starts in October. But yeah, so far I'm on track to pass with flying colors. So as long as I do well this time around, I'm good to go. Goal is to keep the grades high too, so if I ever decide to pursue a master's or PhD in history or something, that I can also do that. But I'll definitely start with education first, I think, just so I have a stable career. And there's different directions even that could take me as well. It doesn't have to be teaching exactly. There's a lot of jobs that'll actually take someone like me of 2 degrees, so just waiting for Eve. I'll give Eve another 30 minutes or 30 seconds or so, not 30 minutes. And if he doesn't show up right away, we'll move on just for the sake of time. Eve is here. Beautiful. Plebeian on the left, Eve on the right. Again, you guys know how I run these. I know there was a little bit of concern about the 7 flags thing, but I'll make sure we go through this very efficiently so that it will not take any longer than 3 hours. As for what I'll be teaching, obviously social studies, history, that type of thing. But realistically speaking, I'll probably be on the sub list to start off. But who knows, maybe a door will open early on and I'll get lucky. Okay, plebeian going with Hassan, which actually is not surprising. He's been trying to lab him lately. See what he can do. Good exchanges between these two. Upcut from Eve. And this matchup has the potential to be very interesting, I would say. Because they both have very flowy attacks. And they're both exposed. Plebeian just going ham there, but Eve is patient, able to get a stab in. Another stab, no kill though. It does a graze instead of a direct hit. A cut, B cut. Slightly delaying the combo, but still got the kill all the same. Very nice from Eve. Eve needs 2 more. Eve is a very, very good Gideon player, so it's tough to try labbing a character against someone who's so skilled. But I can confirm, having played against Plebeian and Hassan a little bit, that it is pretty damn good. It just, I think, takes a long time for you to reach the same level as Eve has, who's practiced with Gideon for so long. I still appreciate the effort trying to make Hassan work, show us how good he is in reality. Perhaps a lot of people sleep on him because he's a newer character that we don't understand yet. Shot misses. Good try from Eve, though, and another exchange. Plebeian showing he has good fundamentals when it comes to the game. I think it's just the weaknesses of Hassan here that are getting exploited by Eve. Thrust out of measure. Good try, though. If Eve moved into that, that would have been great, I think. And the cut there. Reminder that points are very important here. It's not just about winning, so if Plebeian can score at least a few more points, then it doesn't matter so much that he's losing. Although he definitely does not want to lose at this point. That would not be good. Eve testing the guard there. Plebeian stamina is low. Yeah. And at some point he cracked. It was either that or he get exhausted from just blocking. He had to take some kind of initiative, and Eve just had his number there. Still a good effort from Plebeian. There you go. Just make it capture Hellish Quart as well. Glorious Purpose against Venator. A new member of our community who joined last minute. Oh, I almost pinged Eve. It's Venator. Yeah, Eve also has experience against this exact Hassan, so that probably helped, as they're mentioning. Eve told Maestro in DMs that he wishes England lost Agincourt. That's a bold take there. Most English take a lot of pride in that victory because it's a victory against the French. I'd say it's kind of misplaced, though, and that might be what Eve is getting at, because ultimately the French are the ones who won the 100 Years' War. It's often forgotten that the English were the ones who lost in the end, so... Although I say English and French, it's really more like two French dynasties fighting over France, but I won't get super deep into that. We're going to focus on the commentary. Glorious Purpose, going to give him 30 seconds more to join. If not, we'll move to Racer against Oak, and we'll come back if we need to. Beautiful, he's here. He does need keyboard from what I remember. We did test just a little bit earlier. Glorious Purpose, you'll be on the left. I'll just call you Glorious, if you don't mind, in the name. So that is a long one. And Venator, of course, on the right. Okay, Glorious Purpose, click on the window if you need to. Also, the window looks a little odd. Hang on. Glad I caught that. It was like showing two Hellish Quarts because I had the display capture over the regular screen. That's how OBS works. Should have fixed that though. Don't think the game was looking like that the first fight though, so that's good. That was just when I adjusted the window. Yeah, alright, we're good. So we'll see who Glorious Purpose will pick. Marta. That's a pretty good pick. I would say Laswell, though, known as a Marta killer. It's not that Marta can't win this matchup, but Laszlo just seems to have some tools, despite looking exposed to stabs, that work quite well here. And Venator's goal is pretty clear here, to get blade contact and to close in. His Laszlo is also pretty good. Yeah, and Laszlo will just dominate up close. Again, not that Marta can't win, but if the Laszlo knows what he's doing, it's very, very difficult. If the Laszlo doesn't know what he's doing, I think that's where Marta can make some things work. Good stab from Venator. And again, it's the experience. Venator knows about long guard. He knows about how to counteract rapiers, whereas Glorious, I think he used long guard there, which was a little bit too close. My goodness, Venator just on fire. Just walking forward, very basic anti-rapier strategy. Glorious Purpose might also be unaware of how to recover from a blade beat with Marta. So, and there you got a flag. Yeah, his movement, I think, he's very flat-footed, and against somebody who moves fast like Laszlo, that can end pretty badly. So Venator, showing his experience there, managed to win that, but good effort, Glorious Purpose. This is a round robin, so... You're still not out of it yet. Okay, Oak against Racer. Racer should be around. Then I'll fight Maestro right after this and fight Oak. So 2 back-to-back difficult fights. Maestro doesn't show up to tournaments as often just because of the timing, and he's very busy. But on this Labor Day weekend, he is able to show up, which I'm glad to see. Okay, Racer on the left, Oak on the right. Oh, whoops. That's fine. Racer going with Marie, possibly? And it looks like Oak's going with Laszlo. Whereas Racer thinking? Okay, what's going on? Massive spikes. Alright, yeah, no worries. Can back out. Let me know if it clears up or doesn't clear up, Racer. Or you can reconnect. Let me rejoin? Alright, yeah, you can just rejoin. You can try Steam as well, as Oak says. Yeah, sometimes that's all you need to do as well. Okay, again, Racer on the left, Oak on the right. Might need to back out again. No controls. Are you on keyboard? You're on gamepad, right? Yeah. Yeah, I just gave you gamepad, so I don't know what's up. Try clicking the window if you haven't already for some reason. Yeah. Sometimes that's all you need to do. It's easy to forget to do that. Yeah, he meant to go Marie, it looks like. For Glorious Purpose, make sure you do that as well. Sometimes if you click off, you Alt-Tab or something like that, you have to click back on the window to make sure it recognizes your controls. Don't know why it does that, but it appears to be needed oftentimes. There's a kill for Oak, using Laszlo against a Rapier, which, ever since people have discovered how to use Laszlo against the Rapier, Laszlo seems to dominate these sorts of matchups. His stab is solid, and he's got very good blade beat potential as well as very good cuts from the long guard bind. And Racer getting tired there. Just can't stop Oak's onslaught there. Nice Vineyard there, perfect. Oak's on fire as always. Venator and Oak are going to be two competitors to watch out for. Nice. Big cut there is punished. The Racer does get a little bit of a stab there to the arm. Not a very good hit, and that's a double. Although I applaud Racer for trying to make Marie work, I think this is a very tough matchup. Even Marta's tough to use here. Marta's good against most characters, or at least usable against most characters. She's one of the dominant thrusting characters in the meta, but even she struggles against Laszlo. But Marie, on the other hand, is just weak in general. Double lunge, cut to the arm there, but unfortunately cutting is not very effective with rapiers, and so, yeah, not able to get a kill there. And the stabs with Marie can be questionable as well, so it kind of adds to her problems. Her point work really needs some improvement because it is a rapier after all. You'd think that would be a strength of the rapier, but for Marta it is, for Marie it's not. 2 hits there. Oak almost powering through, but Racer is able to secure the kill. Ooh, big thrust there is deflected. And instantly Oak takes it. Laszlo having fast footwork also really helps. That was 7-2. Yeah. Okay, Maestro, you're fighting me now. One-sided fight so far. But I think a lot of it was due to players experimenting, or Glorious is newer, but obviously as he gets experience, he'll get better. Sometimes you have to lose first, but this is what the nice thing about round robins is, you still get that chance to get a lot of experience under your belt, regardless of how you do. So I think this will be very good for Glorious' purpose. Okay, I'm on the left, Maestro, you're on the right. And good luck. Gonna give Jan a try, it looks like. I think Jan is still in a great state in this game, despite the fact that he had his corkscrew bug fixed. He's still a contender. The cork remains a very strong move. Just has to be used properly. Ooh, block stun there. Alright, GG, Maestro. Oak, you're up next against me. I have to run the gauntlet, it looks like, to start us off. Awesome, Oak is already connecting. So Maestro GG there. Alright, so I'll be on the right this time, Oak on the left. Maestro, be ready. You'll be fighting very soon again, actually, against Plebeian. GG. Oak made that a bit harder than it looked. Always sharp as always. Yeah, I'm glad I found those low cuts worked. I was trying to go for a high-low game once I noticed that. But I had to be on my game that whole time. If I was making mistakes, if I was just throwing random stuff, playing his game, Oak would have picked me right apart as he usually does. So, very nice fight, Oak. Good exchanges. Went way better than I ever would have expected. Meister said his favorite state is Delaware. Oh my god. We're on round 2 already, believe it or not, out of 7 rounds, so we're doing great for time. Maestro, please get on ASAP. You will be fighting Plebeian. And this message extends to everybody attending. Just because we're trying to be really quick with this, I know some people were concerned, particularly in the EU community, about this being a bit later than usual. Just try to be on time. Don't be like any more than a minute late. And if we do that, we should get this done very quickly, while still maximizing the fight time for everybody. Okay, Maestro on the left, Plebeian on the right. Jan again, very good choice against Hassan, I have to say. We'll see what Plebeian can do. He's fighting another veteran player with this experimental character. Again, just trying to show us what Hassan can do. He's been labbing with him quite a bit. Goes in with a bunch of cuts, which might have surprised Maestro, but it only results in a trade. And in the end, Maestro is able to stab him. Again, trying to go forward. Maybe a little too reckless there against Dion's reach. And Jan actually has some pretty good speed himself, so speed might not necessarily be an advantage that Hassan enjoys as much as he might think. It's more about his attack chaining that might be better than Jan. But Jan overall just seems like a more solid character and has attacks that are geared specifically to get past a guard like this, whether it's Laszlo or Hassan. They both struggle a lot against Jan, and Maestro just going ham. Plebeian definitely needs to change something, and that's an issue that Hassan sometimes has, and Jan is not short. So that goes to show that it is a huge problem with Hassan at the moment, is that he cuts too high sometimes. So Plebeian actually missed one of his cuts. But thankfully his attack linking is good enough that he was able to follow it up and still get the kill. So you can just imagine, like, if Hassan fights a Marie, for example, how annoying that can be. If Jan, of all people, can sometimes duck under just by being hit. Because the being hit animation sometimes allows you to duck his cuts, which is really silly. There's a hit. It's not like that's the first time Kobold's made a tall character, so it really is kind of silly. I mean, the boss doesn't have this problem, the boss Samuel. So you'd think Kobold would be able to fix that, but we'll see. Maybe he's having to add some stuff for Hassan yet. Tarnovsky used to have some issues, and he got some buffs, so it's not out of the question that Hassan will get some love. I even posted a suggestion for what his crash-through attack could be, which is where he assumes the half-sword position, but then he throws a big cut that has the potential to get past guard, and then maybe he does that low stab afterwards. A nice combination would be good. But yeah, Maestro's able to take this pretty handily, 7-3. Very tough matchup, I would say. Okay, Venator against Racer. Very excited to see this one. And then E versus Glorious Purpose right after this. Racer is here. Nothing wrong with the Dell. So Maestro's not denying it. But I can't say I've been there, so I can't really confirm nor deny being Canadian, but 7-3 curse. Yeah, it's been a common score so far. 7-3, 7-2. Which could make things very interesting. Laszlo, yeah. Venator trying to show us like how good Laszlo is against rapiers. He's deliberately picking Laszlo to counter Marie and Marta. Ooh, the double lunge, though, can stop somebody who's just moving forward with long guard and not thinking. And that's not to criticize Venator's play. That literally is the most basic tactic to counter rapiers, is to hold long guard, move in, and get the kill. With a lunge or with a cut, whatever it happens to be. If you want the best way to defeat the AI, that's probably right there the best way. As long as you're careful of distance. But Racer is not letting that happen. And even in high-level play, sometimes just being liberal with long guard is all you need. But Racer is doing a good job mixing up his tempo. Venator's going to need to change something, I think. Obviously, he still has to use long guard, but it's, I think, how he's employing it that might be causing some problems there. Racer sidesteps, but opens up the center line for Venator to just stab him. There it is. Racer got a bit too close, and Venator was able to get a secure bind with that long guard move. And that is why long guard works, by the way. I was talking with Kobold about this, and it's apparently very difficult to get auto guard to block the tip of a sword precisely. And so what long guard does is the blades stick together in a bind, which is semi-realistic. Blades do kind of stick together when the edges bind into each other, but they don't do it quite the way they do in this game. They will still slide. There'll still be opportunities to get a better position, better angle. You're not stuck to each other like in those Hollywood lightsaber fights or sword fights. It's not quite like that, of course. Binding and winding is a completely different idea, but that's just to say that long guard is kind of a sort of a primitive mechanic to solve a problem that Kobold hasn't been able to solve yet. But for the purpose of the game, it works well enough, and it makes thrusts more viable than they otherwise would be. So I'd say it's a good thing it's there, but I'd love to see the mechanic expanded upon and fleshed out down the road if possible. Anyway, back to the fight. It's actually quite even. Racer proving to be a pretty good Marie player, and actually I think I've seen him play Marie a few times, so not super surprised by that. He's probably experimented a lot with the character over the course of his modding as well, whether it's the spears or the skins, stuff like that. But Venator's still able to secure the win with Laszlo, 7-4. Now Eve against Glorious Purpose. Making Hassan look bad, but it ain't over. Yeah, your boy. It is what it is. You're still relatively new to Hassan, so I think that's to be expected. But we'll see. I'm sure you'll put on a good performance at some point. Okay, Eve on the left. Glorious Purpose will be on the right. Make sure you click the window if something's not working, Glorious. That should fix the occasional problem you get where you can't select. There you go. Going back with Marta. Which makes sense. Looks like that's his main. Eve going with Isabella, which I think is actually a smart pick. We've seen Isabella struggle in this matchup before. It's not that Marta can't win. In fact, she can win quite handily if used properly. But Isabella does have some short blade beats. She fights for the center line very well. And she has more reach than some of the sabers. So she has tools in her toolbox for rapiers that I would say many sabers do not have. So given his experience of Isabella, it actually makes a lot of sense that he went with this pick. Especially against somebody who might not be super experienced like Ezekiel. He might be able to surprise Glorious Purpose with some blade beats. Because there is a skill to making use of Marta's blade beat recoveries, and you have to know the moves that best recover from them to make the best use of them. And if you don't have that knowledge, then Marta can really struggle against the longsword. There's a punch into a cut to the head, though. Classic from Marta. Dash and thrust there. That's also a good move, used properly. Bunch of cuts out of measure, though, and Eve is able to take the center line and get a kill. That's really what Isabella wants. She wants to fight for space in the center and claim it immediately and get the quickest blade beats she can. You don't want to mess around with high guard unless you're sure high guard cut will kill. If you're spending too much time with big cuts that are very slow, Marta will usually out-recover you. And of course, Marta wants to avoid these blade beats at all costs, wants to disengage, keep distance, use the back Y, all these sorts of things. And the sidestep is often a good idea too, but I think that was from too close. Yeah, unfortunately getting too close there, I think some of the moves were a little imprecise as well. Stab attempt, another stab. No kill, but I like that he's using the jabs. Unfortunately, yeah, letting Eve get too close and not being assertive enough. High guard cut does connect, actually. It's a bit of a trade there. Isabella not getting the kill, though. Thrust misses. The Inquartada is a nice counter, but Glorious Purpose had to follow it up. There's the dash and thrust, though. Good move. At this point, Glorious Purpose wants to score as many flags as possible. A lot of people have had matches by this point where they haven't won a lot of flags, so every flag is going to matter going forward. Eve is able to take it 7-3. Now I'm fighting Venator. And we're in round 3 already. Okay, I'll be on the left, Venator will be on the right. Oh, did we close out of the game somehow? Oh, Glorious Purpose might have alt-tabbed or alt-tab forward. That's okay. Or I misclicked something. That's also possible. If that was you, Glorious Purpose, just try not to alt-tab till you leave Parsec. Because then otherwise we have to re-enter the game. It happens to the best of us, though. Venator, or not Venator, Pecola sometimes does that. And it's kind of a meme, so it's not the end of the world, but just try not to do that. Alright, GG Venator. I mean, you were landing side steps on me as well, so yeah, it's no different. Yeah, it's a pretty fair matchup too. They're both able to dodge each other with their side steps. Jan is just much wider with his movement. He's slower, but he can do more moves out of it, and he's more versatile, whereas Barabash is definitely faster as far as the explosivity of it. No, it doesn't have iframes. It's just that I'm getting out of the way. Lots of side steps do that, and it's a very linear move, so it's probably a bit easier to do that. Oh, no worries, Glorious Purpose. So how you exit, I'll send you a message too, just to make sure you get it. You just go to the taskbar, and you should just be able to exit from there. All right, I'm just making sure he got that. Now Racer will be on the left, Eve will be on the right. Okay, Racer on the left, Eve on the right. Oh, you should be in Eve, yeah. Goes with Gideon, I think, yeah. Racer sticking with Marie, which is interesting. Ooh, trade of attacks there. Both fighters hurt, but I think this favors Eve, really. Kick there. Yeah, as soon as it becomes messy, Gideon is in a good spot here. On paper, Gideon is pretty exposed to Marie's stabs, but Eve knows how to cover himself and make up for those weaknesses, so... Just like a lot of the matchups, I think Marie just doesn't have a lot that she can do. Eve with long guard there into the chop. Again, a classic way to counter rapiers there. Just if you have a cut from long guard, often that's one of your best moves. Because you capture the blade with long guard, then you get a cut in, and if the Marie overextends, she's in trouble. Eve with the crooked thrust, it looks like, but he was too close for it and got punished there. The double lunge is able to skip through, possibly because Eve was sidestepping. Sometimes if you are moving forward into the double lunge or you're moving to the side a little bit, it can skip through. Yeah, and that was just a distance thing there. Racer is able to use the range of the rapier to catch Eve in the middle of that crooked thrust, but it was a good try from Eve. That thrust has been working very well here, actually. And again, tries it, but Racer's able to beat him to the punch again. It also helps when you have a straight blade that it's literally a straight line from point A to point B, whereas if you think about it, a curved blade has to take that extra time because it's essentially not moving in a straight line, but more of a diagonal, sort of angled line. Whenever you go for a stab, you can never lead with the point the way you can with a rapier or a longsword. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, very even fight, actually. I gotta say, Racer doing very well. The chop misses because Eve was too close, hitting with the fist and the grip of the sword. Nice there. One more needed for both of them. Very dynamic fight. Eve is not able to secure the follow-up after the chop, but that was a very good try. I think that's just spacing. Gideon might struggle to follow that up if he's a little too far away. The chop aiming at the wrist there, but the hand protection saves Marie. Good to see at least the hand protection's working, and the sidestep from Racer able to secure the kill, 7-6. I think that's our first super close fight, actually, which isn't common. Usually these events are have more fights that seem disputed, but I would say a lot of people are having moments where they're losing by a margin, like quite a margin, so it's closer than it looks. It's just in a different way. Okay, Plebeian against Glorious Purpose. Then Meister will fight Oak right after this, which will be exciting. I think Glorious Purpose is here. I'll make sure he has keyboard. Give Plebeian a little bit longer. There he is. Okay, go ahead. Hassan versus Marina. That's a matchup I feel like I don't see very often. Good luck, Plebeian. I don't know if this is a matchup you've labbed at all. But Glory's Purpose looks like he's trying to experiment with some characters now. Marches forward, good push. Marina is actually often a pretty easy character to beat if you know what to do. The push is very effective against her. You can sidestep, go for the legs. Although Hassan doesn't have very many leg attacks that I'm aware of, but the sidesteps are still there. He has the HP, and so if it becomes a brawl, he will tend to dominate. But I don't know how well his cuts interact with the shield specifically. I just know a lot of sabers do pretty well against Marina. Definitely low B tier I would put her in. Connor, on the other hand, he's like low S tier, something like that. Pretty damn high on the tier list, but Marina is quite a bit below. Not to say you can't win a fight with her, especially against somebody who doesn't know how to counter some of her moves or how to get past the shield. She can definitely be quite a problem, especially in skilled hands, but her tournament win record is not very good. Good cut there from Plebeian. Good blade beat, beating down that thrust. Sidestep attempt, and the stab actually proving pretty good to get around the shield, but this time it is able to be blocked. Good sidestep again. Plebeian needs one more. Ooh, nice cut. Trick shot attempt. That's actually a decent idea. This dash and stab to call it out, though. Plebeian is able to win the brawl. Okay, Plebeian takes it 7-4. Yeah, Maestro on the left, Oak on the right. Goes with Samuel, which I think is a good pick here, actually. We've seen Samuel have mixed results against Laszlo, but, I mean, he's got a good guard, good fundamentals, good ways to get past Laszlo's weaknesses. Just has to avoid brawling with him too much and use the reach of his saber. It's a case where they both have advantages over each other, I would say. But Maestro making good use of his own so far. Good cut there. Another one for Maestro. stab there does not kill. Maestro trying to go for follow-up cut, but Oak is able to beat him to it. 3-3. High guard cut into back X, catching Oak in that trap there. I don't know if Maestro intended to set that up or not. If he did, that was very intelligent on his part. It could have also just been, you know, sort of a reflexive move. Sometimes that happens. You're just throwing back cuts out of instinct, not because you're setting anything up, but it turns out to be a good idea. But yeah, very possible there's a deliberate trap too, hence the risky high guard cut to start, which is, on paper, a more straightforward move to punish. I like Maestro's style with Sam. It really plays into his sort of counter-striking style, but he's also not afraid to mix it up with you and get into an exchange if it seems like the best idea at the time. Very even fight so far between these two very experienced players. Although Maestro is known for longsword, he has played a lot of saber recently, so you could say he's more of a saber player at this point, and it's showing. Even against a saber master like Oak, fighting him on equal terms like this, not easy. The stab, Oak spaces it well, has a similar stab of his own, and that wind up there costs Oak the flag, as Maestro is able to beat him to it. This is down to the wire here. High guard cut into the false edge cut results in a double. I think Oak was trying to sidestep it. There's the Vineyard. Actually, Samuel has his own version of it, and then Maestro follows it up with a push, keeping up the pressure. Very nicely done from Maestro of Samuel. But a very close one, 7-6. Okay, Glorious Purpose against Racer. Okay, Glorious on the left, Racer on the right. Oh, Marina again. Maybe another character that Glorious likes. Let's see what Racer can do here. This is a bad matchup for Marina. I mean, there's not really any good matchups for her, really. There's winnable matchups like Marta or Calc. She can sometimes beat those characters with the point. And Yendrik's a wild card, so she can absolutely beat Yendrik. But otherwise, every matchup for her is pretty much a bad one. I would say this one is particularly bad, though. It's pretty straightforward for Marina to win this. So Racer is going to have to be very creative here, which he has the experience to do. It's just, I think against a determined player, even somebody who's relatively new, it's not going to be easy. Especially if Glorious Purpose knows the moves of Marina, which it appears that he does. So he's going to try and force the engagement, get close, use the shield to deflect that rapier. And so we'll see what Racer can do about it. Managing to recover for some of those blade beats, but still can't get the kill, even against someone with low HP like Marina, which goes to show how weak Marie is at the moment. But hitting that leg might have been crucial. Oh, no it wasn't. Even that trade is just not good enough for Marie. The double lunge glances off the shield. Yeah, this is a very tough matchup. And even Racer struggling to find an answer. I wouldn't know what to do here, to be honest, other than cut the leg. And we all know that cutting with a rapier is not a good idea, so... If that's literally your best option against an opponent, it's not gonna end super well. And yeah, beats the blade and closes in. Marie just doesn't have an answer to that. It's funny that dash and thrust went over her head earlier. Whoa. That was strange. Were you in control, Racer, or did it lag or something? Dominant performance for a glorious purpose regardless, but... All good? Okay. Just got a bit too close with low guard, I guess. Which happens to the best of us. It's a very easy thing to mess up. You do low guard to try and bait your opponent in, or you have something planned and your opponent just beats you to the punch. It's always an inherent risk. It's definitely something I've done before with both high guard and low guard. You try to set up a trap, but in doing so... Oh, there we go, Venator's in. I thought I rejected him by mistake for just a second. Okay, Venator on the left, Meister on the right. Might see a saber battle between these two. No Isabella from Venator so far, which might be a little bit surprising to some, but his Laszlo is proving pretty good so far, as is his Jan, I would say. Now they're both contemplating who to pick. Maestro going with Isabella, looking for the longsword fight. Venator does not go Isabella, though. He goes Zera, which is surprising. But maybe he's trying to make a point. Or he knows something about Zera and about Isabella's guard. Let's see what he does. High guard into thrust is very smart there. Just not in the range to make it work. Trying to bait Maestro there. Maestro started with Isabella and Hellish Quart, so really cool to see him getting back into Isabella a little bit after spending so long playing sabers. There's a double. Thrust attempt into back Y. Maestro just marching forward with those cuts and eventually gets caught flat-footed. Good sidestep from Maestro. And the A cut there, perfect single tempo. Venator might be regretting this choice at this point. That is something that Zera can be vulnerable to. Many of his attacks have a wide sort of wind up to them. So Isabella, with her tight cuts, can single tempo his hands. Whether it's with a sidestep or that B cut is actually a very good idea, as is that A cut. Can thrust from the roof guard. I always thought you could actually, but maybe Venator switched it last second. You can also do that with Isabella actually. You can go high guard, but then quickly get to neutral. And in that instant that you've let go of the input, you can still throw the stab. So that could also be what was happening there. You'd have to ask Venator. But it is possible you can just thrust from it as well. Snap cut into Y cut from Maestro. This pick not working super well here for Venator. But I think he was trying to use Zera's like really powerful attacks, like the stab, the back Y. And they're just not proving effective enough against really good Isabella. B cut there does not trade favorably this time. Maestro has to be careful not to give away too many flags. Otherwise Venator could still win it. Nice, using high guard to gather the thrust first and then goes with the high guard. Still ends up taking a bit of a hit, but it took the sting out of that attack, I would say. So, very good move from Maestro. 7-5. And now I'm fighting Eve. And Eve, you'll be on the left, I'll be on the right. I'll just kick you, Venator, not because I hate you, but because I want to limit the bandwidth taken up as much as possible. Eve on the left, I'm on the right, beautiful. Probably gonna go with Gideon there, yeah. That's what you normally do, but it seemed instant. Move to the side and press X to do it. Interesting. I'm not a Zera main, so I really wouldn't know. Even when I used him for a quick time when I was newer to the game and he came out, I was definitely not an expert. I was just relying on how crazy he was at the time to get work done, so I never mained him in any meaningful way, I would say. He was just a fun novelty for a bit. You can probably still find some of my games of Zera on YouTube somewhere. Oh, if I was just a little more patient. Very good job, though, Eve. Very good fight. He doesn't seem to guard that very well. Like, even his animation looks a little weird. Might be something to look at. GG Eve. That was a really good fight. But yeah, it does look strange how he tries to block that second cut, so that might be something to look at. Yeah, I'm not saying it shouldn't be, like, he's not vulnerable, or he shouldn't be vulnerable to being cut, Venator. What I'm saying is his attempt to block it looks very strange. And he's not always holding it behind his back. Sometimes in his, is it the right foot forward? Yeah, right foot forward. He's got his arm forward at least. But he still doesn't block it. Anyway, the point is that move, it's not that that move should never land, it's that his guard to try and block it is very weird compared to other characters. That's where a leg void can come in handy, though. That is the exact type of situation where having a good leg void is life or death. And Gideon, I think he used to have one, but it was like for a brief moment, but it was a bug. Or maybe it was a feature Kobold added and then removed. I'm not sure which it was, but it could just be wrong position, yeah. I don't know. But it's just something to send Kobold's way. Like, is this guard proper? If it is, or if it isn't, then that's the end of the story, I guess. But yeah, it's just one of those things I'm curious about. But yeah, a leg void would be very helpful. Because it is those exact situations where, like, your guard is not able to stop it. Like, you should move your leg back. Obviously, you can trade as well, but that's messy. You really don't want to be eating cuts to your leg in a real fight if you can avoid it. So, a leg void is what I would propose, for sure. I know I've said before it's not really Gideon's fighting style to do that type of thing, but he's not physically incapable of it. So, and there's no reason you wouldn't adapt your style to your opponent. So, I think a leg void is acceptable. Yeah. Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree, Venator. It's just his attempt to guard it looks very strange. That's all I was saying. But yeah, leg void, definitely not a bad idea to look at as well. Kick the sword? I wouldn't do that. There is actually a text that talks about stepping on the sword. I wouldn't do that against the sword that's moving so quickly. His HP would help. It actually would. That's the funny thing, is it actually would. You're not wrong. Because that low cut specifically doesn't hit very hard. You would have noticed that I basically never kill with it, and sometimes I don't even make him limp with it. So, the funny thing is, a kick might actually be more effective than what he's currently doing in the game. So, I can see where you're coming from with that. That sounds like the capoeira type stuff that Kubel was thinking of adding to Alex, but thankfully never did. I think it would have been really bizarre. He was considering adding capoeira kicks to his moveset. And that was, I think 2 years ago now that he considered that, so I don't think it's coming, and I think that's a good thing. It would feel very out of place, I think. But yeah, as you say, a leg void is definitely something to look at. But I think I was just in the middle of mentioning, like, there is a text that talks about stepping on the sword under very specific circumstances. You can do that. But against the fast-moving saber aimed at your legs, I would not even try that. That's like if somebody threw a telegraph stab and the opportunity's there, then you can potentially step on it, but if you mess that up in any way, you've got a sword through your legs, so very niche type of thing, but theoretically possible, especially in armored fighting, could be something you could do. But it would not have been a very common occurrence. Anyway, Oak has gone with Hassan as well, very brave on his part. Plebeian being a very practiced Hassan player. Yeah, Oak was just tired there after that exchange. Good effort, though. 7-4. For Plebeian. Oak, you're still not done, though. You've got to run the gauntlet now and fight Venator. Oh, Venator's already here. Wait, were you not the one who won that, Plebeian? It should have been on the right. Oak, you're still on the left, actually. Venator's on the right this time. Plebeian won. Oh, okay. It's just that Oak did well, is what you're saying. Got it. Yeah, that looked like a really good rally, by the way. Let's see. Yeah, going with Laszlo, Venator with Jan. Very smart pick to try and counter Oak's Laszlo. Oak's Laszlo is something else, though. It's not as simple as picking the right character. Ooh, just too close there. Hits at the hilt, not the blade. And that's the danger of some of these long-range cutting moves, is sometimes you don't hit the blade, and therefore you don't do damage if you're too close. Corkscrew there, still proving very good. There's another cork. That low thrust is able to force a double. A little tap to the belly. Yeah, still a dangerous move in this matchup that Oak's got to be wary of. That's another double. And Jan's cutting game is more rangy than Laszlo, so that also helps Jan. Bunch of chops. Nobody's been hit yet, though. The corkscrew there. Low thrust there. Another low thrust. This time it connects as Oak tries to back off. Another stab. Very brutal move in this matchup. Going for the chop this time. Which is also a good counter to Laszlo's thrust, incidentally. But there's a cut to the hand for Oak, getting his first flag. We might see him adapt. Ooh, the thrust doesn't connect. Good try from Oak. You can see how tough this matchup is for Laszlo. He really has to close the distance and avoid fighting the range game too much. Otherwise, he's very vulnerable to those stabs. Although I say that, that stab from Oak is able to secure a kill. I think it was 2 hits as well there as well, oddly enough, but still a legitimate hit, so. Okay, Venator's able to get another one. The Quart screw is deflected. Able to back away in time. The low stab, though, into a cut. Doesn't kill, but Oak is looking very tired after those 2 hits. He's taken quite a bit of damage. He does not want to even take a grazing hit after that. Classic in-and-out gameplay. High-level Hellish Quart on both of these players' parts. I think the matchup is just very tough for Oak here. The back Y is able to stop his follow-up there. Sniping the wrist. Venator needing one more now. Good sidestep into the back Y, finding a nice angle. Venator is able to take it 7-2. Okay, Glorious Purpose, you're up now. We're on round 5 out of 7, believe it or not, so we're making very good time. Okay, making sure you have keyboard. Glorious Purpose, you'll be on the right side this time. I'll be on the left. Going back to Marta. Interesting, so a shield and a rapier player, it looks like. Not the first one, actually. Ezekiel is kind of like that, although he does play a lot of Samuel as well, and I'd say he's been playing Samuel and Marta more than Marina lately. Alright, GG, Glorious Purpose. I think you showed very good patience there. It's just you need to find those moments to secure the initiative because it felt like I was able to dictate the whole fight. So that'll just be a matter of labbing Marta's moveset, figuring out what works and what doesn't. But I like the patience that I'm seeing. You need to be patient to play Marta well, so that's a very good starting point. I think it's just a matter of mastering the moveset from there. Yeah, no problem. I really like what I saw there. Don't let the score difference discourage you. Keep practicing and you'll get better. Especially those first two flags. I was trying to be a little bit too aggressive there, and you punished me right away both times. So yeah, that was very good on your part. I realized I had to approach the fight a little bit differently as soon as you started doing that. Alright, Maestro is here. Maestro will be fighting Eve. Beautiful Eve is here. Nice, Maestro getting the first kill there. Samuel against Calc is a really interesting matchup. They're both very academic fencers as far as how they approach it. Although Samuel, obviously, in the canon, does have actual experience, so he also has that practical experience under his belt. But what I mean by academic is just that he approaches fencing in a very measured way with his Hungarian Hussar style. Probably some Polish fencing in there too. Obviously, Polish Saber itself is kind of a mishmash of stuff because we don't actually know what it looked like, but there's educated guesswork that's been done. Whereas Calc in canon is purely academic. Apparently, he doesn't have very much experience actually fencing. Maybe at most he's fought a bandit or two or something like that, had a disagreement in the bar, but his bio really shows that he fights by the book and he's more self-taught, so sometimes the stuff he does isn't actually the most practical. But it is very clean and stylish. Stab to the body there. Maestro doing very well. And there's a stab to the arm there. Like, I think if most of us were to take up saber fencing and there was life or death, I feel like Samuel's style is one of the styles you'd really want to think about using. Just the way he approaches the fight is very, very measured. Not that the other styles are weaker by any means. They're all also just as legitimate. It's just if you're not experienced, you probably wouldn't want to be moving like Gideon does, because he relies so much on distance management. So if you don't get that right, you're going to be sort of picked apart. Okay, Plebeian against Racer now. And then Glorious Purpose will fight Maestro Cake after this. Good cut to start off there. Marie might actually do decent in this matchup if Hassan struggles to hit the head. Oh, also, I think I didn't change the right name, so I don't think that's Maestro, that's Racer. Yeah, just so you guys know. Is what it is. Yeah, that's definitely Racer. Nobody else is playing Marie, so. Good stab there, sidestep. It can be difficult for Hassan actually to hit the head because Marie is so short, but a stab coming down there, making it 3-3. At least Marie is a weak character though, so those weaknesses can probably be overcome if you use the correct cuts there. Nicely done. Holding long guard. Very basic approach, but sometimes that's exactly what you need to counter the rapier. I like that Racer's being creative though. He's not just moving forward, he's doing some side steps, which can be a good way to counter the windup of an attack from long guard or just to get around. Racer being grounded and flat-footed, which isn't always a bad thing, especially if you're trying to deal with something like double lunge, but it might give Racer the freedom to experiment and try and pick you apart with side steps like that. Trying to rush in there, just not able to land the cut there. A lot of cuts out of measure or over the head. It's a double. Double lunge is blocked this time. Good job from Plebeian there. Good patience. Using the long guard and squaring up to it. Okay, got pinged. I'll check that out later. Yes, I saw Eve. You don't... I mentioned that earlier. Yes, this is not Maestro Cake, again, to reiterate, playing Marie. Well, uh-oh, Sion thinks this is Maestro. No, it's Racer. It is Racer, not Maestro. Yeah, that's the funny thing is I got the other name correct. That is Plebeian on the left, but... I appreciate the reminder though, Eve, because you never know sometimes. Okay, Racer managed to win in the end though. 7-6. Yeah, apologies for getting your name wrong there. Somehow had you listed as Maestro. But that kind of works out because Maestro is on the right. For this next fight against Glorious Purpose. Okay, they're both here. Again, Glorious Purpose on the left. Maestro is on the right this time. That is actually Maestro. Yeah, unfortunately, Chernobyl's just been really busy lately. So it is what it is, but I hope Chernobyl gets a chance to be more active soon, but I understand the spreadsheet is a lot of work to maintain, so I don't hold that against him at all, that he's struggling to keep that up to date. It's amazing he even compiled that much data in the first place. So we gotta give him a lot of respect for that. He gave us some insights, I think, into the balance that we wouldn't have had otherwise. You have edit access too? Well, you can always feel free to update it if you want. Oh, you've been slacking. Well, it sounds like you've been working too, and I'm gonna be busy literally tomorrow, so. And for the entirety of September, I'm gonna be taking a course. It's one of those long courses that takes like 4 hours every class. But at least it's Monday to Thursday, it's not Monday to Friday. So at least Fridays are still free. But I will be very busy nonetheless, studying and getting stuff done and, you know, all the rest of it. Yeah, I get it. And then once I hit October, I'll be in the middle of my practicum again, but it should be the last go at it there. Be teaching from October to December. Then it'll be Christmas break. Then I'll graduate pretty soon afterwards, of course, officially. Alright, Maestro takes it. Very good choice on his part using Samuel. Let me just double check and get the score right. It is 7-3. Very good grab to end that off too. Eve against Oak now. This is a fight I think a lot of us were excited to see. Okay, Eve is joining. Beautiful. Eve on the left, Oak on the right. Again, we're doing very good for time. It actually hasn't even been 2 hours yet since the official start time of the tournament, so We should get this done before 3 hours have passed. Oh, is that Eve going with Yon? That's a different pick, but a pick that makes sense all the same. I think Yon is the pretty clear counter to Laszlo. Even after the changes that have been made to him, he's still a very good pick here. And he's got that low thrust still, as well as the longer range cuts, and the corkscrew remains a strong move. Eve is actually, to my knowledge, quite familiar with Yanni's moveset. He just doesn't play him very often. And he is a Barabash player from time to time, so he does understand many of Yanni's basic moves as well. Especially after the recent update, like the neutrals are pretty much the same, so. But Oak is ahead by 1. Good cuts from Eve, making it 1-1. Good dash and thrust there. Should plug in Vena's Olympics tourney too, since it's good data. Yeah, Sion, if you get an opportunity, that's always a good event to look at. And yeah, it's nice to have Fridays off. When I was doing my history degree, of course, I didn't have them off. That was a day of classes. But in the education department, they actually give you the Fridays off. In turn, the classes are a bit longer to compensate for that, but that's how they do it, at least here. Although they're usually not like 4 hours long. Like this is a high-level curriculum social studies course is what it is, so that's why it's so long and condensed. It's meant to be taken just before the practicum. Good exchange, then the down forward A. Dash and thrust there. The lunge from Oak is able to connect. Thrust. They're both getting a little bit tired, but Oak having a little bit more stamina. Very good usage of his in and out strat there is able to keep him in the game. Force Eve to overthrow a little bit. YX there hitting the head. Now it's down to the wire. We've had a few close fights like this. Always good to see, especially between two high-level Saber players. I think Saber fights are peak Hellish Quart. We've seen some great longsword games too, but I still think Saber is the most fun. The dash into the thrust from Eve again connects. It seems like sidestepping it is often a mistake, actually, at least the way Oak was doing it, making it 7-5. Eve discovered something that works very well, despite being a little bit slow. Okay, Venator against Plebeian. Okay, just need Venator here. Okay, I'll give Venator a little bit longer. If not, we can just skip really quick and come back. It's not a big deal. Just don't want to spend too long waiting. Alright, unless he joins like right this second, I think we'll just quickly do Racer against me. But if I see him join like right away, yeah, I don't think he will. Alright. Racer, let's do our fight real quick, and we'll go from there. And don't go away just yet after the fight, Racer. If Venator doesn't show up, we'll go right into your fight against Maestro Cake and finish up your fights. Okay, Racer, you're on the left. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel here. Good luck. And I think I saw Venator's here, so right after this, Racer, I'll let you go so that I can get Venator in to fight Plebeian. Right, GG. Alright, Venator, you can go ahead and join. You'll be fighting Plebeian. I'll just be sure to ping you. Yeah, sorry to move on very quickly, Venator. I'm just trying to do this as quickly as I can. Because I do know we're starting later. But you're up now. Then Racer will be up against Maestro right after this. Guess while I wait for them, I'll set up the names. Beautiful, here he is. Again, Venator left, Plebeian on the right. Is he in? Yes, he is. Alright. Might just need to back out. Alexander against Hassan. Nice hit to the head there. Able to beat Venator to the punch, force him in the corner. Oh, Venator. A brutal series of cuts there as Plebeian tried to dash in. Good patience from Plebeian, but just not able to get a hit despite aiming inside the guard. Alexander's guard is notoriously good, especially at blocking cuts coming down. Though actually that lunge coming low is not able to secure a kill, so Plebeian does get a punish. Upcut not quite connecting there. I think it was out of range for starters. Still, I like the idea of it, trying to catch Venator out. Push into Y cut doesn't secure the kill, but goes low under that stab. That's something that Hassan really hates, is anybody who can go low like that. Nice whirlwind from Venator leading to an exchange. Plebeian is patient, but then he goes low, hits the leg. Plebeian is looking tired as well. Definitely did quite a bit of damage, but is able to get 2 quick cuts to the head there. Again, good patience from Plebeian. Despite having lost his footwork, he still waited for that punish. And that's a hit from Venator, but the HP of Hassan is able to keep him alive. That trick shot doesn't quite land. Going low, and yeah, the Y cut follow-up. Alexander's high-low game is brutal, and Hassan really hates fighting characters that can do that. Ooh, that looked like a good hit for Plebeian, but Alexander just somehow blocks it. This might not be a good matchup for Hassan at all. Yeah, 7-3 there. Just proving your point back to Zera. Well, I mean, there's only one way to prove it, I suppose. But I appreciate you giving it a go. Had to stress test him in competition. Yeah, it is. Even if in casual you are trying to play at your best, you're very often not playing at your best. You're distracted, you're talking about something else, you're doing things just for fun, there's nothing on the line, so even subconsciously, I think many of us do not play at our best in casual games. Unless it is like a particularly intense flag or something, then you might see that, but the level definitely increases in competition. I agree 100% there. Oh, didn't mean to pick bar, I assume. Probably wanted Marie. Yeah. So Maestro gonna go with Samuel. And And nice stab from Racer. Despite the blade beat. But Maestro gets a hit of his own. Carries on with the stabs. That's a classic Samuel strategy, actually. And it probably works pretty well against rapiers. Double lunge is parried. The stab is as well, though. Nice back and forth. But yeah, Maestro's able to get just close enough to where those side steps are rendered ineffective by Samuel's guard. He's able to follow up, but that high guard cut was out of measure. Perfect punish from Racer. It's Marie is a tough character to use, but I have to say he's using her very well. It's just, at this high level play, it takes so much more effort to make Marie work than it does with other characters. I mean, you can see right there, Maestro can just throw the stab 3 times and not even think about it, and he'll out-stab Marie. Whereas Racer, like, he's really trying to land that stab, but Maestro can kind of just walk forward and ignore it. As long as Maestro is not making a blatant mistake, Marie simply will lose. Unless it's a very, very good Marie and it's cooked something really amazing. Yeah, Maestro even blocking with the dash. That's how good Samuel's defense is. And also how bad Marie is, too. Because Marta would have caught him there. But, yeah, Marie is just, yeah, very tough to use. But I commend you, Racer, for giving her a shot and doing your best. You've definitely proven you're good with her, but you've also proven how much effort it takes to win with Marie. She's still not in a very good state. Alright, Plebeian, you gotta fight me now. And then it'll be Oak against Glorious Purpose, and we'll end with Venator against Eve, which is exciting. And this will be Plebeian's last fight, as well as my own, since we're on the final round. Alright, beautiful. Again, you're on the left, I'm on the right. Plebeian will possibly bust out the Zera, he said, but we'll see. Yeah. Glad to see it, because we recently fought in the USFC. But I wouldn't have minded fighting Hassan and seeing how he plays too. But I get it, Plebeian doesn't feel happy with how he's performing, so better to stick with your main. Alright, GG. Oak is already joining, and Glorious Purpose, you'll be fighting him. Both keyboard players. And this is the second last fight. Oak on the left, Glorious Purpose on the right. And we're just over 2 hours in at this point, so very good for time. There you go. Sometimes you gotta click on the window to make sure you're in. Going with Marina there, Glorious Purpose. Who's Oak gonna go with, though? Oh, is he getting lag? He might be getting that. Alright, I'll let you in through Steam then, as per usual. It's something between Russia and Canada, probably, or just Parsec being weird, but sometimes Oak gets these weird super lags on certain parsecs, and yeah, and honestly, some tournaments I host, like if we did a double elimination, they can be 3+ easily, if not 4 hours, so I'm actually very glad it was a round robin because you can run them very efficiently. Okay, looks like Oak is here. I'm just trying to give him keyboard. Okay, there we are. Alright, we're ready to go. Now, I might need to restart the game after this, but honestly, that's a totally fair price to pay, especially this stage in the tournament. It's not a huge deal. Good exchange between these two. Nobody's been killed yet, but Glorious Purpose has managed to score a hit. He's playing a very good Marina so far. But there's the back X sniping the hand, and that's where experience might come into play. Good kick there, a lunge into A cut. Again, nice push though by Oak. Able to secure the punish after feeling him out a bit. Good sidestep from Glorious Purpose into another cut. Against such a good Saber player, Glorious Purpose is doing very well. Actually, it's 2-2 now. Oak's got to be a little bit careful. Good lunge into A cut to the hand. Yeah, Oak is definitely trying to set up a push or set up those cuts that snipe the hand. The back X is proving more useful than the back Y. Glorious Purpose has to be careful not to overextend and to fall for those. Oak keeps targeting the hand as you should, but Glorious Purpose with a beautiful sidestep. Definitely making Oak work for this. But a deep lunge this time hits the belly past the shield. That is a big weakness that Marina has to the sword side. She really struggles to defend against those types of attacks. And whenever it's a brawl like that, Laszlo will tend to win just through sheer brutality. His blade hits harder. Good exchange. A trick shot is a good idea, actually. Oak trying to be fancy. But doesn't quite get it. Good try with the sidestep. Glorious Purpose going in those cuts, and the sidestep again lands. I think this is Glorious Purpose's most impressive performance so far, which is nice to see. I've definitely seen his skill evolve as the tournament's going. And, you know, even winning one match against somebody like Oak is very commendable. So if he manages it, that's pretty huge. Oak trying to get a grab. The dash and the thrust. Will he finish it? He doesn't. I think the back X actually missed for Oak, though, thankfully for Glorious Purpose. That was a very good try from Oak. But that deep lunge secures it there. Oak is just very intelligent with the moves that he's picking. And very good at that in and out gameplay. It's very tough to fight against, so to fight that well against him is very commendable. And I'm glad to see Glorious Purpose got some experience under his belt and even improved some because of it. That looks like a really fun fight. Eve against Venator to end this tournament. Just let me know, guys, if we need to restart the game. That's not a big deal. But we'll try to avoid doing that to start. Oak was on keyboard, so it might not be as big of a problem. I'll try backing out as well and resetting gamepads just in case. Okay, Venator on the left, Eve on the right. Let me just change the names. Alright, go ahead. Nice, we got it working, it looks like, for Eve and Venator. Nice. Going with Isabella. And Venator. Yeah, very surprising pick again from Venator going Zera. Maybe he's testing these Isabella players out. It's kind of how he phrased it with Maestro. Stab attempt. Yeah. Nice stab from Eve there, that retreat A stab, I think it is. Definitely something coming low. Not something you see as often, but actually deceptively effective. Good movement from Eve. Getting a hit. But so is Venator, it's a bit of a trade there. Not ideal. But the snap cut keeps going, that's a very luck move there from Eve, that snap cut. Eve is more so known for Gideon and Barabash as well as Calc, but there was a time when he was playing a lot of Isabella, so he still knows the moves, still knows how to play her very well. And that retreat A, forget back Y, retreat A is where it's at with Isabella in this matchup. I think because it's aimed right at the hand, so the moment that Venator does any kind of wind-up, his hands are right there to be stabbed. Good stab. That was the regular X stab this time. Eve just needs 2 more to secure it. And a bit of a trade there, but it doesn't favor Eve. It favors Venator. The leg switch. B cut and X cut there. Good combination from Eve. Venator forced back a little bit, but no hits yet. Back Y. B in the X stab there. Good exchange. A double. Nice push in the Y cut. One more needed for Eve. Good leg switch. Snap cut. Yeah, I like what Eve's doing. He's trying to lure Venator into a trap there. Venator this time not falling for it. There's a push into a Y cut. Yeah, Eve's very good at these distance traps of Isabella. High guard immediately punishing that whiff. Venator going with a high recovery move, and that's it. 7-3. Very good Isabella from Eve. Okay, I'll end the tournament with that, and I'll stop sharing the game screen so you guys can see the challenge. So, no surprise there that I managed to win that. But Maestro Cake doing very well as usual in my tournaments. It's always a joy to see him show up. Got second place, got some points in the rankings. You can't argue with that. And Venator got third place. He said he needed 3 for that, so he managed to get into a position where he can earn points. So well done. Eve got fourth. Very close behind Venator. It came down to points difference, it looks like. And then Oak and Plebeian tied. Once again came down to points difference. And then Glorious Purpose actually got 7th place. And Racer got 8th place, but he was experimenting with Marie, so I'm sure he doesn't feel too bad about that. And yeah, that's it for the tournament. Since I intended to keep this short and sweet, I won't keep you guys any longer. Just thank you all for showing up. I know Mondays are kind of rough. I just wanted to host something this week before I get into the university grind again, and I'm glad I got the opportunity to do so. And I'll see you guys next time.